Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlimle in Accra on digital address GA0993341. It's broadcasting live on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telesol 4G, proudly Ghanaian. Telesol, just stay touch. UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank, Let's Go, and Mac Auto Parts Ghana, distributors of Isuzu pickups and Chevy cars. Mac Ghana, with you for the long run. Coming up in this edition, fresh details emerge. Bank of Ghana granted operating license for establishment of Capital Bank, although the central bank had not confirmed the minimum capitalization of the new commercial bank. We've got details as audit report reviews. Majority shareholder of Capital Bank, Atuesian, transferred up to 130 million Ghana cedis out of the bank without management's knowledge. Meanwhile, Christian Council of Ghana urges government and the national security apparatus to arrest and prosecute persons whose acts led to the dissolution of the 7 banks.
All those who are culpable in this matter, be they staff of the Bank of Ghana or directors of the closed banks, should be prosecuted.
Men's Gold disputes claims by PMMC that its gold trade is in violation of the country's laws.
We who have been clothed with the powers to issue license for trading in gold have not given that to Men's Gold as at now.
We'll speak to lawyers of Men's Gold live. NDC General Secretary gives clearest indication yet that former President John Dramani Mahama will contest to lead the party in 2020.
Individuals can pledge their support to candidates, but executives collectively.
As our previous flag bearer, and he has since declared his intention to contest. So everybody in the party knows that this is a candidate.
Meanwhile, Greater Accra NDC chairman condemns recent endorsement of Ekosio Gabra by party executives.
Individuals can pledge their support to candidates, but executives collectively cannot do that. We must respect party structures. I will personally call on Spiogabra to disassociate himself from this statement.
And later on in sports,
Ghana striker Jordan Ayew will complete a season-long loan move to Crystal Palace from Swansea City today. More on this and other transfer news to come as the English Premier League transfer window shuts today.
All that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Details shortly. Fresh details of audit report into collapse of Capital Bank reveal the Bank of Ghana granted license for its operation, although the central bank could not confirm the existence of Capital Bank's initial capital. The report also reveals that majority shareholder William Atuesian transferred up to 130 million Ghana cedis to another company without the knowledge of the management of Capital Bank. Fifi Kumsin has been studying the report.
The auditors made a barrage of shocking revelations. Right from the start of operation, the audit report revealed that the Bank of Ghana granted license for the operation of Capital Bank, even when the Banking Supervision Department of the Central Bank could not confirm the minimum capitalization then of 60 million cedis. This is how. On December 22, 2011, First Capital Plus Bank Limited applied for a Class 1 banking license. The Banking Supervision Department, after an assessment, described the operations of the Savings and Loans Company as satisfactory and recommended that the company be granted a provisional license to operate as a bank on the following conditions. 1. The submission of evidence of lodgement of capital funds in a bank account. Submission of detailed information on the core banking software that will be used, as well as the topology of the IT system network. And 3, the appointment of a CEO with more varied banking experience. According to the audit report, some of these critical conditions were, however, not met before the granting of the provisional license on July 23, 2012. It is instructive to note that, at this time, First Capital Plus Savings and Loans had still not satisfied the condition to show proof of cash of up to 60 million in a bank account. But the central bank went ahead to grant the full Class 1 license in 2013. The report holds even more revelations. Fast forward to 2014, the Bank of Ghana's Banking Supervision Department Risk Assessment Report of between February 2014 and January 31st, 2015 uncovered that Capital Bank had serious issues in its independent risk assessment. It said management oversight practices fell short of accepted industry standards. These details were in marked contrast of the Bank of Ghana's assessment prior to granting the Class 1 license to First Capital Bank Limited. In fact, in December 2015, Capital Bank had a cumulative 482.4 million cedis of third-party funds which could not be accounted for from 10 institutions, including All-Time Capital, an amount of 171.46 million cedis, Nordia Capital, 67 million cedis, and City Investments, 15.91 million cedis. It was also revealed that the majority shareholder, Ato Essien, had transferred an amount of 130 million cedis, being part of a 450 million cedi bailout money. The money was sent to All-Time Capital. Managing Director at the time, Reverend Fitzgerald Donko, is said to have expressed displeasure at the transfer, prompting an emergency ESCO meeting which concluded that the request was highly unusual as there was no credit approval process. When Mr. Essien, the majority shareholder and director, was quizzed about the transfers, he explained that, quote, the actual use of 130 million cedis could not be disclosed to management as this was highly classified information.
Fifi Kumsin there, and he joins us in the studio with a copy of that audit report conducted by Boulders Advisors Limited. Fifi, there was a recommendation that was made regarding the board chairman. What does it say?
Okay, so there were some transfers. We are talking about liquidity support money that was given by the Bank of Ghana to Capital Bank, and they came in two tranches. First and second tranche, 450 million, and the third tranche, which was 170 million. Now, they are saying that the chairman of the board of the bank, that is Pastor Mensa Otabel, should be questioned on this outlay of liquidity support for the two payments in order to ascertain the extent to which a criminal charge can be brought against those involved.
Well, as you're aware, we've been serializing this audit report by Boulders Advisors Limited. There'll be more in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, the Christian Council of Ghana has called on government and the security agencies to arrest and prosecute persons whose actions or inactions led to the dissolution of the 7 indigenous banks. The council says it finds it inappropriate and unacceptable that public funds are used to bail out the banks but ends up in pockets of individuals connected with the affected banks. Speaking at a synod of the Global Evangelical Church at the University of Ghana, General Secretary of the Council, Reverend Cyril Fayose, said only a thorough investigation and prosecution will help restore public confidence in the banking sector.
I would like to say here for the record that the Christian Council wants to commend the governor of the Bank of Ghana and his team for exposing the rot in the banking system in Ghana and for actually closing down 7 of the banks. We also want to place on record that the Christian Council of Ghana thinks that all those who are culpable in this matter, be they staff of the Bank of Ghana or directors of the closed banks, should be prosecuted, should face the full rigors of the law as much as possible. Because the amount of money that we hear has gone into this bailing out of these banks is enough to do a lot of social interventions in our country.
So this event is also being attended by President Akufo-Addo, who has been speaking. Let's get on the line and speak to Elton John Brobe, Presidential Affairs Correspondent. So Elton, did the President make any reference to these latest developments in the banking industry also?
Not at all. And I'm also say that not directly, and also indicate that at the time the General Secretary of the Christian Council made those comments, President Akufo-Addo was yet to arrive at the venue. But his speech, in a way, also he mentioned the fact that churches of today have become competition grounds where the ostentatious lifestyle of some of these pastors is a clear deviation from what the church was established to do. And that for the reason that many churches are not going into helping government construct schools and hospitals, makes the point that people are advancing that the churches should be taxed a valid one.
It could not be lost on anyone that there are increasing calls for churches to be taxed. It is not difficult to see what is driving these calls. For years, the churches were seen as leading the drive for development. They built and ran schools and hospitals. They led the campaign for good sanitation. Cleanliness was next to godliness. They preached and practiced. There were church services where worshippers sang to their heart's content, but there was no question of keeping whole communities awake night after night. Nor were there churches that were sources of noise nuisance. The priests in churches, leaders, led their lives that the average person could identify with. But the difficult truth is that once you get into the wealth and prosperity sphere, you necessarily slip into the tax and accounting language. The public looks on as priests compete to show who is the more powerful and who is the richer. The public looks on as some of the churches appear to forget about the poor and the vulnerable in our society and concentrate on being outrageous. It is not surprising that there are calls for taxes to be imposed on church income. When you step out of the charity sphere, out of education, and out of healthcare, you're putting yourself in the line of the taxman.
President Akufo-Addo commenting on the recent controversy surrounding churches and taxes. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, Men's Gold Company Limited is disputing claims by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, PMMC, that it is violating the law in its trade of gold in the country. Managing Director of PMMC, Kwejo Opare-Hammond, told Joy News that though the company was granted a license in 2014, it has long been revoked. Mr. Kwejo Opare-Hammond also described as unrealistic the 7 to 10% interest being paid by Men's Gold Company Limited to its customers. Listen.
Minerals Commission would normally give you a license to export. And of course, I think there's a small clause that says that you buy gold for export. And I don't know whether that is what they are relying on to do this. But if that's what they are relying on to do this, then that is totally wrong. You are supposed to buy the raw gold and then you package and then you export. Now, let me say that even with the exports, no individual or company can export gold without coming through PMMC. We have not. We who have been clothed with the powers to issue license for trading in gold have not given that to Men's Gold as of now. So I don't know where they are getting that 7% or 10% from. There is nowhere, and I want to be very, very, very emphatic here. There is nowhere in the world where you can take gold, invest in, and make 7% return on a monthly basis. That's 84% per annum. That sounds ridiculous.
You have a managing director of PMMC, that's the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, Kwejo Opare-Hammond. We are joined on the line by lawyer Kwame Akufu. He's lawyer for Men's Gold. Thank you very much for your time here on the Midday News, Mr. Kwame Akufu. You may have heard the MD for PMMC. He says that as far as he's concerned, PMMC has not given any license to Men's Gold since it last revoked it in 2014. Your response?
Let me say this. First and foremost, I thank you for having me. This interview is necessary to allay the concerns and fears of many responsible Ghanaians in this republic who have invested money or taken out this gold investment with my client. It is important first and foremost to state this. Mr. Opare-Hammond is categorically wrong. The records will show that by letter dated the 28th of August 2014, Men's Bank, then the Men's Bank, now Men's Gold, applied for a gold export license from the PMMC. That license was granted after monies had been paid, the necessary registration fees had been paid. The license was granted to run from the 4th day of September 2014, with the validity period expiring on the 4th of September 2015. Subsequent to the expiration of this license, my client subsequently applied for a renewal, which was also granted on the 3rd day of November 2015, with same expiring on the 2nd of November 2016. Let me state this for the records. There has never been an occasion that a license was issued to Men's Gold Ghana Limited and same was revoked by any governmental entity. I heard Mr. Opare-Hammond speak yesterday and say that the license was revoked. That statement is not supported by the record. That statement is completely defamatory. And we are challenging him. I am challenging him as counsel for Men's Gold Ghana Limited to come up with the revocation notice. You have to bring him back to the studio. And we expect him to do what is proper and just, to render an unqualified apology to Men's Gold Ghana Limited. None of such has occurred. He was not in office at that time, so I guess he's speaking to the company's history. But if he has to speak to the company's history, he has no remedy to distort the record. Now, he speaks of the econometrics of the transaction. The econometrics of the transaction are transactions between Men's Gold and its customers. None of the customers have laid complaint to Mr. Opare Hammond. In any case, Mr. Opare Hammond is not the qualified person to make a calling on the econometrics of the transaction. Now, the Minerals Commission have duly given a license to our clients to deal with the export. What the PMMC does presently under our legal framework is that it becomes the independent assayer of gold that leads the Republic. The Minerals Commission has not complained about us. People make a lot of speculative statements. We have a financial system now that is overheated. And when these statements are made by persons in a government which is private sector-led, it is worrying and dismal. It is worrying, and I repeat, very dismal.
So quick clarifications, Mr. Ekufuor, quick clarifications I would want to find out from you. Do you currently hold a license that has been given to you by the PMMC?
We do not need a license from the PMMC.
But from what Mr. Opare Hammond is saying is that until if you are...
MFA, let me speak on these matters because these are matters of the law. What is happening in the Republic now is that nobody has a Commodities Trading Act. My clients are engaged in commodities trading. That is why the Bank of Ghana, for example, in 2012 has never issued a notice and said, don't deal with them. But for 6 years, the Bank of Ghana has never been able to say anywhere in this republic that what they are doing is illegal per se. They say that we're doing deposit taken under Section 6 of Act 930. We say, no, we're not doing it. Under Section 6 of Act 930, the Bank of Ghana has the authority to set out prescribed financial activities which violate the law. For 6 years, nobody has set out violations, activities of our type of work that we do. In every private sector-led economy, what happens is that people become innovative, and many people sometimes are afraid of innovative. We are prepared as a responsible entity to engage government and stakeholders so that we can begin to build...
We don't have too much time, so Mr. Ekufuor, I would have to come in as and when. You told me about the renewal of your license in 2014. In 2015, that expires in 2016. Have you renewed it since?
We do not have to renew it. We have started dealing with the Minerals Commission. It's not about renewal, MFA. It's about revocation. Mr. Opare Hammond did not say to you in his interview.
But you've just told me that you renewed your license 2014, 2015. What happened to the 2016 one?
We did not have to because PMMC became an independent assayer. So we went to the Minerals Commission. They have outlived their usefulness to our business.
So what's the specification of the license that you've been given by the Minerals Commission? What's the specification?
It's with respect to exporting gold. So we export the gold and commodity trade it and share the benefits of the commodity trading with the customers.
What about your dealings in the country? What about your dealings in the country, the derivatives? Don't you need a license for that?
We are not dealing with any derivatives. That kind of language is borrowed thinking. That's the kind of propaganda people are putting out there. We are not dealing with any derivatives. If people choose to use adjectives, we are not taking those adjectives. We are engaged in commodity trading. If somebody has a problem, we are prepared to speak to the person. We are prepared to speak to the issues. We are prepared to engage government to put together a regulatory framework. Section 6 of the Act 930 has prescribed financial activities, MFA. Nobody has set up prescribed financial activities which enmeshes Men's Gold Ghana Limited in its activities. So there is a lot of borrowed thinking out there in the public domain, which does nothing else but to collapse Ghanaian businesses, and we have to desist from this.
The interest you're paying also is in question. He said that nowhere in the world would you get any such interest because 84% per annum, 7 to 10% on gold trading. Nowhere in the world, in Dubai, Switzerland, everywhere. He says that's unrealistic.
He speaks of an unrealistic transaction. We speak of a transaction which is realized day in and day out. None of the customers, none of the people dealing with us in this commodity trading have complained or laid complaint. I say to Mr. Opare Hammond that if there is a complaint, it is not to his doorstep. He's stepping completely out of his jurisdiction and speaking for the Minerals Commission. The president has appointed him to work for the PMMC, not to speak for the Minerals Commission.
Mr. Kwame Kufu, we're grateful for your time. Lawyer Kwame Kufu speaks for Men's Gold. Women of Krobo and their Dangbe towns in the eastern region chanting as they joined scores of residents to demonstrate earlier today. The residents are asking government to rescind its decision to relocate the main campus of the region's first public university from Somanya to Bunso. The residents are protesting what they claim is a subtle attempt by government to go ahead with the relocation despite recommendations by authorities of the school to make Somanya the main campus. Joshua Ogbojo is secretary to United Krobo Foundation organizers of the protest.
The main administration block of the university, if you talk of a university, main campus should have main administration block, auditorium, vice chancellor's residence. All these things are lost. They are all going to Bunsu, and we are serious. We just want to bring them back, and there will be peace. If not, we are going to speak out.
Let's get on the line now and speak to our correspondent Kofi Sian for an update on the situation. So, Kofi Sian, why are the residents so insistent that the main site is being relocated?
Well, what they are claiming is that per the documents they've cited, government has decided to make or build the Vice Chancellor's office at Bunsu, and also the main administration block for the school or the university is also going to be built in Bunsu. So if you have all these and some of the main faculties going to Bunsu, it should tell you clearly that government is in a subtle attempt to make Bunsu the main campus at the expense of Somanya.
We also understand the protesters submitted a petition to the heads of the two districts. What does it say?
Yes, they first presented it to the Lower Menya District Chief Executive and the last one to the Somanya or Ile-Krobo District Chief Executive. And what is contained in that petition is that they want the president to show interest by reversing that decision to make Bunsu the main campus as they claim in their petition.
Kofi Sian, well, that demonstration went ahead in spite of assurances by government that it does not have any plans to relocate the main campus. Here's Education Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh speaking earlier this week on the matter.
I must put on record that has not changed and will never change. And as we go to Somanya today, the contract that President John Dramani Mahama's government signed is the one that we are effecting. Let nobody misinform Ghanaians and let people learn to speak the truth, because the records are always there. Honorable Finance Minister at that time, Honorable Setekpe, comes from Somanya. He arranged the loan for Somanya, and he knows for a fact that what he signed is what is going on in Somanya. Government of Ghana has not taken a single faculty building outside Somanya that was contracted. And the contractors are in Ghana. The loan agreement can be made available. And indeed, I don't know if it's not for mischief. This thing was raised in Parliament, and the ministry submitted the contract, and they realized that nothing, not a dot, is being changed in this contract.
You heard that Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, Education Minister. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Our top stories are in this edition. Fresh details emerging that Bank of Ghana granted operating license for establishment of Capital Bank, although the central bank had not confirmed the minimum capitalization of the new commercial bank. We also heard that majority shareholder of Capital Bank, Atuasian, transferred up to 130 million Ghana cedis out of the bank without management's knowledge. When we return from the break also, NDC General Secretary gives clearest indication yet that former President John Dramani Mahama will contest to lead the party in 2020.
As our previous flag bearer, and he has since declared his intention to contest. So everybody in the party knows that this is a candidate.
That is a sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mack. Yes, Mack Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicle stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pocket. Mark Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website at markghana.com. Mark Ghana, with you for the long run.
You're welcome back from the break. Let's take some sports now from Benedict Owusu.
Yes, MFI, just to give you an idea of what's going to happen on your radio from 2:30 to 5:30 is a transfer news. That's the English transfer was shut at exactly 4 Ghana time. UK will be 5. And you know, Jordan Ayew plays his club football for Swansea City. Well, Crystal Palace have finalized the deal to sign Jordan on a season-long loan and medical. What happened today? Jordan had not trained with the side and are currently playing in the English Championship. And also, their boss, that's Swansea City, their boss Graham Potter, confirmed on Tuesday that the Ghanaian international had chosen not to report for training as he looks to force through his exit from the club. Now, Palace will have the option to buy Ayew at the end of his loan. We definitely will discuss this on the program, which starts at exactly 2:30. And also, Thibaut Courtois has officially signed a 6-year deal with Real Madrid. It's the end of a 7-year spell at Chelsea, and Harry Maguire is going to Manchester United, confirms Leicester City boss, that's Claude Puel, but he says he's going there as a Leicester City player. You know, Leicester City and Manchester United will kickstart this season's English Premier League on Friday, that's tomorrow. And United actually wanted to buy Harry Maguire, but their manager is saying that he's going there to play for his club side, that's Leicester City. There's more. Chelsea confirming the signing of Real Madrid midfielder Matthew Kovacic on a season-long loan. That's part of the Thibaut Courtois deal to Real Madrid. We definitely will bring you more. Join us at 2:30. Also
we'll definitely stay with you, Benedict. Thank you very much. Now, getting clean potable water in the Western region town of Window is an uphill task. The more than 3,000 residents of the community use water from a pond polluted with human excreta and waste from Galamsey operations. Inathalia Kwansa has today's Joy News agenda.
The Rain River is a heavily polluted one. Around it, a dump site and a lot of fecal matter as residents answer nature's call here. The same residents use water from this river for their house chores.
Rain River has been our source of drinking water since time immemorial. When you put it in your water pot and drink, you could feel that you are really drinking potable water. Uses the area as their place of convenience because we don't have public toilet facilities.
We'll get the full report in our subsequent bulletins. And staying on water, it will soon be possible to add wastewater to Ghana's renewable energy sources thanks to a petition developed at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Love FM's Kwesi Debra has more.
MFCs are devices that use bacteria to break down the dirt in the wastewater to generate electric power and at the same time clean the water. The microbial fuel cell consists of 2 chambers. One compartment containing the wastewater and the other chamber containing hydrogen peroxide, or what is locally known as hydrogen, separated by a partition. As the bacteria in the wastewater break down the dirt, electrical charges in the form of hydrogen ions are released. The hydrogen combines with oxygen, the peroxide, to form water. The movement of the hydrogen through the partition results in the production of electricity. But for a long time, these partitions, known as proton exchange membrane or PERM, were imported, costing hundreds of dollars and besides require a certain level of expertise to operate.
If I want to use it, I don't have to hold it with my hand. I have to use the tongue to hold it.
That's your Tech Thursday. And just before we go, it is imagined that former President John Dramani Mahama will be contesting the flag bearership slot when the opposition NDC opens nominations. General Secretary of the party, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, dropped the hint when he spoke to Joy News yesterday. We'll get you more in our subsequent bulletins. Do log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. I am Emefa Apau. Thanks for your company. Have a good afternoon.